What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and I'm going to be unboxing something which I don't really know what it is. Now, I have an idea. It might be one of iPolo's latest ETH miners. Now, it also might not, because I just finished talking to them a couple days ago, and they didn't mention they're trying to get approval to see if I want to actually showcase one. So this might not be it at all. So we are going to unbox this, and always make sure you have the proper tools so you don't hurt yourself. Now, I've been on drilling rigs forever. We got to get things done. I can't find my knife, so I am using a screwdriver. Proper tool? No. Will it work? Yes. So let's just kind of, now it's a little harder to do when you know, holding a camera in one hand. So I'm just going to kind of stab it in there, get some pressure here so it doesn't fly out. And then we're just going to slice that like so. Yes. Hey, it worked. It didn't go all the way, so we're just going to do it again. Oh, there we go. We're going through. Nice. We'll just give it a couple whacks around like this. Let's get in there. Oh, yeah, there we go. We're smooth through here. Hopefully we didn't scratch anything up. You know, warranty, I don't know. I should be under warranty, I guess. Now we're just going to go across the top here. Oh, yeah. Are we winning? Oh, we're 100% winning. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Rip that apart right there. Here we go. Good stuff. Now let's just open this up like so. Oh, it's wrapped in plastic. Okay, this is going to be... Oh, man. Okay, this is going to be a tricky part. I am going to have to turn the camera off because I don't want to lift this up and break it. Plastic rips, things fall, and, you know, that just wouldn't be very good. All right, so the packaging is pretty good here, and I caught a glimpse of it, and it is not what I thought it was. I didn't expect it, but it is a really nice surprise of what's actually in this box. So let's just kind of take a peek here and see what you guys know. If you guys already have one of these, you probably already recognize the packaging. Let me know down in the comment section what it is. This is packaged extremely well. So let's open this up. You guys got a glimpse of that bad boy right there? You guys got a glimpse? There we go. Look at that. Yeah, that is right. The DG1 Home Doge Miner. I am pumped. All right, so, you know, it's kind of hard work doing this with one arm. So I'm going to do some YouTube voodoo magic. And there we go. The Elphapex DG1 Home, or DG Home 1, or DG something. It is a liquid-cooled home miner, way better than Gold Shell. What more could you ask for? This is probably one of the most hyped and most anticipated miners of this entire year. I'm counting last year since we first heard about it up into this year. Now, the sad thing we do have to keep in mind, guys, if you've been, you know, following me on understanding altcoin season stuff, Dogecoin's almost over. We probably only have a couple months till it peaks, and then you're going to be waiting for another 4 years. But the efficiency of a home miner, being quiet and everything, this is top notch. Now, maybe I'll open this up and actually see what it looks like. It looks like it's pretty simple, a couple screws. So we'll do that in a minute. But first, let's just take a look at this thing. So this does have a pretty slick, futuristic design. It is liquid cooled, so it should be pretty silent. Personally, you know, I don't think liquid cooled is that great, especially in a small compact thing. So if you're in, like, you know, a very warm climate or something, that may actually be a downfall for you. Air cooling would be better for that. But if you have decent ambient temperatures and stuff, this should be all right for you. Now, looking at it, obviously, it's looking pretty sweet here, coming up to the top. Same grading type of style and everything. So looking good. On the side, we do have the big Elphapex here going horizontal instead of vertical. And just coming over here, it does say that this does run on 100 to 240 volt. I will be running this on 120 volt just to get some power consumption, see what it does. It's supposed to be around the 2 gigahash, 2.1 maybe, at a little over 600 watts, 620 or so. We'll obviously get those numbers for you together when we get this thing up and running. All right, guys, so here's the inside of the DG1 Home. Here we do have our control board sitting here. In the front side, this is our rad. Definitely looks like a 360 millimeter AIO. We can tell that it has the 3 fans, 120 millimeter fans. Add all 3 up in a row, and that equals 360. There's our big heat sink and everything over top of all the ASIC chips. And then it does look like we have, it's red there, so that must be our power going in. And then all our cabling, wiring, and our power supply looks to be this little guy down here. So it's pretty clean, open space looking up there. Oh, don't forget about our pump. We need something to pump the liquid around, and that's what we got happening near the top right there. We do have a nice thermal paste job. It's still nice and soft and oozing all over the place. I just put my finger on it to make sure that's what it was. There's some type of foam, and it is indeed really wet thermal paste still happening in between there as they place this on. So this is pretty much in a nutshell the inside of the DG1 home miner. I'm going to get this back together. They had way more screws than I think they needed to actually secure this side here. There's 3 down there, 3 at the bottom, 3 in the top, 3 in the back. It was pretty crazy. Actually, there's none at the top, but there's a lot of screws, and this did use a Phillips screwdriver. If you're unfamiliar with Phillips, that is actually your star. All right, so coming in the back just to see what all the plugs and connections and everything are. Down there you can see ETH. That is your internet. I call it Ethernet. Other people call it Ethernet. Other people say I say it wrong. I don't really care. I know what it is. You know what it is. You know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to continue to call that Ethernet. Right here is our power plug. That is a C14. So you will need a C13 cable to whatever your wall outlet is, or if you're using a PDU, to the proper plugs in your PDU for 240 volt plus. We got a reset button, IP report switch, red green light for your fault to normal, USB plug, TF flash card slot there, and a little red knob there which we pull off. It's a protector. For antenna, this does have Wi-Fi. Here is the little Wi-Fi antenna here that you simply plug in. Keep in mind, you are going to have to plug this into a LAN, your normal hardwire, and then set up the Wi-Fi, look for the new Wi-Fi IP, and then get it running that way if it's what you want to do. I will show you how to get that going once I do set this up. All right, so we're going to set this up right quick and take a look at the power consumption and hash rates and whatnot. I got the power cable plugged in right here, which again is a C13, which goes to the internal C14 plug. Male end is always the higher number. We got our internet plugged in here. One thing I noticed that they don't have, or I haven't found yet, is a power switch. We'll find out as soon as I plug this in, which is right now. So let's give it some juice. Get my power here, wherever the plug is. Hold on, other arm. There we go. And we'll see if this just fires up or not. So is there a power switch? And, oh, I hear the liquid going through, so I could see the pump kicking in, or I guess hear it, not see it. But it looks like it just automatically turns on. So I do wish they actually put a power switch on this. I love power switches because now we'll look at it. Maybe there's a sleep mode or something, but if you have to unplug it, that could short something out, and, you know, that's just bad. So again, we'll have to see what the dashboard looks like, and maybe that won't be an issue. But I really love power switches on little miners, especially home miners. So there's a big thumbs down right there. No power switch, but let's continue on and have a look at this. All right, so coming into my router, I can see right here, and it has its own name, makes it nice and easy to figure out what the heck this is. DG Home 1 is right here, and here's the IP I need to put into my browser to detect this. So I'm just gonna bring this up right quick, punch that in, open it up, and it's gonna ask for a username and password. I'm assuming, let's go with root and root, because I have never done this before. I don't know what this is, and that looks like it is correct. So we got the blinking light here. That is to detect it. Looks like we have some nice stats happening here. I wish is there a dark mode or anything? I don't see that. We have English or Chinese. Rate, network, miner, IP, password, log, Wi-Fi. So that's, yeah, we're going to go into Wi-Fi and set this up. So we can either turn it off or turn it on. Looks like it is on by default. People have been having, now this just popped up. That wasn't there. But I guess it does sound like some people have been having issues. So if you are having issues with your Wi-Fi, you might have to hide network and see if that helps. Hit the refresh a couple times. You see it's not there now. So I'm just going to shut it off, turn it back on again. Maybe that's the trick right there, as hide network popped up again. But now you're going to find your Wi-Fi connection, and it is looking like it is not detecting 5G, or maybe it is 5G. I can't remember. Anyway, it don't matter. We're going to pick my network here, log in just like you would with any Wi-Fi, and then it should connect. You'll have to look for a new address. So we'll see what happens once I log in. All right, so I plugged in my Wi-Fi parameters. I unplugged the internet cable, the hard line there, and now we can see DG1 Home is picked up on my Wi-Fi side. So now we're going to use this IP to log in, and this should be where we set everything up. So we're going to get rid of the old one, come right back in with the new IP that we have for our Wi-Fi here, let it load up. We'll most likely have to put the username and password in again because it is a different IP at this point, but it's taking some time to load up. So I'm kind of having an issue at this point, so it's not wanting to work. So let me give it a few seconds. We might have to do that trick to get the Wi-Fi to work. Yeah, it's not working. reload. So Wi-Fi is not currently working. I'm going to plug the cable back in and figure it out and let you know how I got it detected, if I even can. All right, so I went to plug it in, and before I got it in, it popped up for the username and password. So I didn't do anything. I just waited longer to sum it up. So I'm going to put in root, so double root, username and password, and it looks like we are now logged in under the Wi-Fi. So it did work. So I don't know if the magic fix or it works right off the get-go. It does look like nothing is here by default. So that's awesome. You plug it in, it won't start mining to some random donation address like a lot of miners do. So we're going to set up our pool settings, see if we need all three or just one. For this, you know, I've been using Power Pool quite a bit lately. So I'm going to set this up to Power Pool. And this is not sponsored by them. All right, so just coming into the Power Pool, get started here. Looks like script is this guy right here. Now I don't know if I need Stratum or TCP and all this, or just a straight up Stratum. Most ASICs don't need this, but we're going to find out for this miner in general. So I am going to pool settings, mining address. Wait, this is actually different. It's asking for my address, username, password. Yeah, I don't know. So we're just going to go like this. Usually your mining address is your wallet address, but that's not the case here. So I'm putting in the pool parameters here. Username, obviously we got to put in our username that we have for the pool. I'm going to put, I guess, DG1. I guess I better put home here so I don't get it confused, because this is the home version, not the actual DG1 full version. Password, I don't think I need that. And I'm just going to hit the save button right now and see if we get any action. It did say success. So let's just wait for the dashboard to do something and see if it does anything. All right, so it's been a few minutes. I don't see a timer, actually miner running. It does have a runtime if it was running, but it's not running. Fans and everything went to 0. Pump went to 0. So maybe we do need the Stratum part in front. That's good. That's why I always like to test this, because we need to know, you know, a simple issue is you just got to put Stratum plus TCP in front. So let's just see if that fixes our issue here. So we're going to paste that in right there, save it again, and see what happens. If that doesn't work, then we'll do a reboot. But now let's just wait a little bit and see if this does anything. Alrighty, so it's still not working. So next step, maybe we do need a password. We got to run through everything, guys, because we don't know what this is. We got to figure it out. So I'm putting password X. We're going to save that with the Stratum. If it works now, I'm going to remove the Stratum and see if we actually need that, because I want to know. I want to know exactly what you need to do minimum to get this thing running. All right, so it's starting now. It says 39 seconds. I got accepted shares, so maybe I just have to wait longer. This is actually pretty slow to start running. I was surprised. I thought it was broken, but we can see some hash rates starting to pick up. We're getting accepted shares. You know, I'm just going to do a quick refresh here, see if we got more accepted. It's still only at 10, but it did take a while. So I'm going to do some quick things here. I want to remove the Stratum part right here and go back and just wait again to see if it begins working. I'm going to remove the password, and then we'll cut back and I'll tell you for what settings it works for a minimum, so you can just get up and running instead of adding things you don't need to add. So I'm going to figure that out. All right, so upon going through everything, we're going to jump into the miner here. You do need the Stratum plus TCP. It would not start without it, and you don't need a password. So that is still pool dependent what you're using it. Some pools do require a password. They won't work. At least for Power Pool and this miner in general, you will not need a password again unless that pool does require it. So that's a good thing to know. The minimum requirements are you do need Stratum and everything in front of your Stratum. Then set your username. Depending on the pool, this will be your account name, or it'll just be your wallet address followed by a period and whatever you want to name the worker, and no password needed, pool dependent, and everything does look to be running. One thing I did notice though is even though it wasn't mining and doing anything with no Stratum, no nothing, it was using about 680 watts. It did drop down to about 655 the entire time. So even though it didn't seem to be doing anything on the dashboard and obviously not on the pool, it was still using, you know, the full power that it's supposed to use. So keep that in mind as well. If it does lose its Stratum or something, it's still going to be burning you a lot of power. All right, so one thing I do want to point out, I do have 66, 72 accepted now, but we're at 109 rejected shares as well. If I come into Power Pool, it's kind of detecting the rig now. We can see DG1 home down here, but a rejection rate of 81.3%. Now, I cannot confirm if that's a pool thing or a miner thing. I'm going to have to try another pool to see if we're getting anything. We are starting to see some hash rates slowly start to pick up here, but Power Pool does take a little while to actually dedicate your rig. So I'm going to wait a little bit until we can at least see one active worker out of two, as I do have my L9 currently elsewhere testing other things, but we're just going to see what happens here. But that is interesting about our rejection rate. I'm going to do another refresh here. I'm noticing the accepted is actually pretty slow, but I'm used to looking at the L9 also. So it's obviously this is a lot slower, but we shouldn't have a rejection rate so high. And there it went up a whole bunch again. You know what? I'm just going to switch pools and see if I'm still having this issue, because maybe it's something else going on. Maybe it's the miner itself. Maybe I got a dud. Maybe I shouldn't have opened yet to show you guys I didn't touch anything, but now the warranty is void because I did crack those little seals where some of the screws were. But, you know, point is, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're checking this thing out. And, you know, if a dud's a dud, it happens all the time. We'll just see what happens here. All right, so we do have one of two workers online now. Our rejected shares is dropping. It's down to 52%. So it's dropping pretty fast. So what may have actually been happening, I didn't pay attention to this on the Antminer L9 because it probably had a massive amount of rejected shares, but I could have been hitting low difficulty at first. As you know, variable difficulty pools, they do adjust unless you set a static starting difficulty, and that will fix those rejected shares right at the start. So that may have been the issue so far. I was just finding a whole bunch of low difficulty shares until it does auto adjust, and then it's slowing down and they're starting to find more accepted there. So everything is actually should be good in theory, because I'm assuming that's all that happened. All right, so to test that theory, I went to Power Pool and I used the same parameters for setting my difficulty. D equals 268800. I'm on Mining Dutch now, but I am still seeing rejected shares. We can see we're at 73 accepted, 30 rejected. I still feel that's pretty high for only having 73 accepted shares. And on Mining Dutch itself, I don't see a spot to see what the pool is telling us for rejected. But when I did set this static difficulty or starting difficulty on Power Pool as well, I did notice that that difficulty did drop quite a bit. I'm all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing there. So I did notice that the rejected shares did fall quite a bit, but I was still getting them even with this. I switched pools here to Mining Dutch. We're still seeing a decent high amount of rejected shares. So it is rejecting from this miner. So if you already have this miner, let me know if you are noticing rejected shares. I don't know if people even realize about looking at this, but we are losing a bunch of shares, and we just got two more right there. I also want to point out that, as you can see, we have 3,482 accepted shares and only 126 rejected. So I did get that way down by doing a simple miner restart. So if you're having issues with rejected, maybe try restarting your miner. All right, so we already seen the dashboard. We've seen the miner. I'm not going to show you the IP part. You'll try and hack me or something. We do have an update tab here. So when new firmware does become available, you'd simply download it, place it here, update it, or do it through the flashcards in the front of the machine there. Password, this is to use your current password and change it to whatever you want to log into your machine. There is an NTP thing here. We got some login. Obviously, we do have the Wi-Fi here. So everything is looking like it should. All right, so it's been a little under 9 hours. I let this run overnight here just to get some hash rate numbers, and it does look like our average here is sitting at about 2.1 gigahash, which is about exactly on par where it should be. Real-time hash rate is 2.3. That thing could drop down to like 1.3 gigahash and move upwards to like 3.5. That is all over the place. It's just based on shares, and especially if you're mining on a variable difficulty pool where the difficulty is adjusting, your hash rate goes up and down based on the difficulty adjustments because you're finding or not finding more or less shares. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so now that we are mining, let's actually have a look at the power. And we are using about 642 watts mining away. So earlier I was mentioning this part with all the hookups was the back. This is actually the front. So this is the front here where all the plugs are. I wish they would have been able to, you know, kind of move this somewhere else instead of being at the front, because it would have been a lot sweeter to look at, even though it looks pretty sweet. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to be as picky as I can because this is a pretty sweet miner. It's not making any noise at all. The initial boot up, you heard the gurgling from the pump, you know, priming itself and stuff. But other than that, this has zero noise coming out of it. I don't even need a decibel meter to show you that it is nothing. You cannot hear a single thing. So that's actually pretty sweet. So, you know, when it comes to home mining and noise is a thing, this is definitely silent. You could put this anywhere in your house and not even know it's running. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. We saw some hash rates, some power consumption. So inside the dashboard, I do want to point out, I didn't see any type of sleep mode or anything. So maybe you just got to pull the stratum and stuff off if you do want to unplug it and move it or something. But keep in mind, it keeps using like 650, 670 watts when it's not even mining. So it might cause a spark or a short or something. Be mindful that there is a lot of power going through this still when it's not even doing anything. So you might think there's nothing there, but you could cause an arc or whatever happening, maybe even fry the miner itself. So I do think that is a serious flaw happening with this. I didn't test it long term, but you know, I would recommend putting yours on a watt meter. I might test this in a future video here. Just remove the stratum and all the pool parameters, save it, and then see how long it takes to wind down so you have an idea. Maybe if you let it sit for 15, 20 minutes or something, it will go down to not using any power. But yeah, right now it does look like for at least 5 minutes, it's still using over 600 watts. So just going straight in and unplugging that could cause a spark or a short or electrocute someone. So we'll just have to continue monitoring this to see what happens, and I'm gonna actually have to test that out for myself. All right, guys, so I am testing out how long it takes for this thing to depower itself, stop using power. I removed everything from the mining address and everything. I hit the save button. Here in the dashboard, you can see that we have nothing going on, no mining address anywhere, no accepted. This is saying that, you know, we don't have any fan things happening. Nothing is happening here. Oh, on the fans, we can still see the pump and the fans are doing things, but this is not using 640 or 50 watts just from these fans. So we do see the pump and stuff is still pumping. The dashboard is kind of slow. The firmware is kind of slow. That should be fixed with a firmware update. The miner in general is just slow on a dashboard type of thing, but nothing's happening. So I am watching this to see when we can actually unplug it safely. All right, guys, so I have no pool parameters in, and we can see we're still at 649 watts. It's been about 1 minute and 22 seconds since I removed all that. So I'm going to wait and see if we actually lose power. If it goes to about 10 minutes, I don't know what I do. This is actually really bad. We are over 3 minutes now, and we're still at 649 watts. All right, so I actually came into the log. We're at about 8 minutes, 18 seconds. It's still 649 watts. And if we look here, we can see it's checking the pool, the health, everything's good. Normally, while it was mining, if we scroll down, it's still checking the pool and everything, but it is saying warn, check pool. It can't find it. There's no stratum there. So it knows there's no pool, but it's still using full power. So what is happening? What is this miner doing right now to use full power when nothing's going on? And now we can see that the dashboard isn't telling us anything. I got to check here. We're still at the power here. 8 minutes, 54 seconds. We'll jump to the camera here in a minute. But the dashboard isn't even saying anything right now. And I'm refreshing the page multiple times. Nothing is going on. So this is all we get. Now it just blew up on me. I don't know what's happening. And just to confirm where we are, we're at 9 minutes, 27 seconds over there. And we actually gained a watt of power. So it has been 10 minutes and we are still using 650 watts. No pool in there. Dashboard glitching out now. So I would say this could be a fire risk, guys. When unplugging these, because there is no power switch anywhere on this machine, be very careful because this still has power going through it, and this could result in possibly shorting out your machine, zapping you or one of your kids or whatever. Who knows what could happen? Just be wary that this thing is still rocking 649 to now 650 watts 10 minutes after I unset any type of pool. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. I showed you how to set this up. We looked at some hash rates, power consumption, and again, that major flaw about unplugging it if you want to move it to a different location, or you just got to do something, maintenance, dust, whatever. That is a pretty bad flaw. I wish they would put a power button on it. Now in a firmware update, you know, they could speed up that dashboard here, obviously, and they could also add a low power mode, or, you know, a sleep mode like we see with Bitmain and stuff, and I think that would be a great feature to have, seeing how they lack the power switch. So that can all be fixed in the future, but the current state right now is not looking good when it comes to unplugging it. If it wasn't for that, this is obviously an amazing home miner, great for, you know, noise levels. It has a decent amount of hash rate. It's only 650 watts for 2 gigahash, which is pretty amazing for a home miner on script here. So things are looking, you know, pretty decent. Again, Doge is almost done for this cycle. We're going to be waiting another 4 years here. You know, I think the peak's probably going to come within the next month, maybe 2 to 3 months tops. And then after that, no more Doge mining, because everyone's going to be crying, saying it's crashing and burning. But that's altcoin season. You got to have your bags already prepared to dump, because it's not going to last the entire year. So be ready for that. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one. If you're looking for any type of ASIC miners, check all them links down in the description. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.